You know, I love a good murder mystery. I do. I really enjoy, you know, informative murder porn, which is probably one of the reasons why I'm attracted to these kind of stories. Well, what we have here is a story from December of last year, where a 19-year-old Dutch model by the name of Ivana Smit, the woman you see here on the screen, was found dead, naked, after falling off of a balcony and landing on the 6th-story balcony below. And the people who are accused of murdering her are a wealthy American couple. I guess you could call him a cryptocurrency trading tycoon, Alex Johnson, and his wife, who were living in Kuala Lumpur and had met the model, Miss Smit, and engaged in a sexual act with her. Now, the couple last seen with Dutch model Ivana Smit have admitted to having a threesome with a 19-year-old who was found dead in Kuala Lumpur on December 7th of last year. American businessman Alex Johnson, 44, and his wife Luna said that they had sex with Miss Smit 3 weeks earlier and on the day she was found dead. Miss Smit had fallen to her death from the balcony of the couple's apartment in Jalan Dan Wangi. The Johnsons also told British Daily Mail tabloid that the three of them had been drinking heavily hours before Miss Smith's death and that she had been taking drugs. The couple said they met her in October of last year at a Kuala Lumpur nightclub when they were introduced to her by a mutual acquaintance. Miss Johnson, identified as an Indonesian by the Daily Mail, says she found Miss Smit beautiful, charming, and confident. Now, the whole story is really interesting when you start looking at it, because you figure this is like some midnight tryst or something, right? Well, no. They had had sex 3 weeks prior, then they met up again, and they went back to the couple's apartment. Their young daughter was out with the babysitter that night, and so the three engaged in drinking and drugs and some, well, light fornication, or, well, probably heavy fornication. Then in the morning, Miss Johnson got up, got the daughter ready, and sent her off to school, while Miss Smit was still in the apartment, was still there. The girl they had hooked up with, the 19-year-old Dutch model that they had sex with the night before, was still hanging around, still drunk, and apparently still coming down off of drugs. Then after Miss Smit, or Miss Johnson, took her daughter to school, came back, found the model on the bed with the husband. She then proceeded to get freaky with Miss Smit one more time. She describes it as being intimate. I just really want her to know if she goes like, "Hey, scissor me timbers," and that's all she remembers. She at that point was still kind of drunk, wanted to go sleep off the alcohol, and left Miss Smit to her own devices. So then around 5 o'clock in the afternoon is when they were informed by police that they had found a body on the 6th floor balcony, that apparently she had fallen off. And when they investigated the family and they looked in the apartment, they had found footprints on top of the air conditioner on the balcony, kind of indicating that she had, you know, crawled up there and fallen to her death. Now, the police looked into this, and the police basically said, "Hey, there's really nothing here. Doesn't look like there's any kind of foul play." Well, the family of the model, they don't buy a word of that. They don't buy any of that. So they hired a private investigator, and the private investigator conducted their own investigation, and they found through the autopsy that male DNA had been found either on or in the young woman before she'd fallen to her death. And now they are basically coming out and saying that this young girl was murdered. That's their official report. So the private eye has come out and been like, "Yeah, no, this girl was entirely murdered, and these people probably did it." And as a result, the American couple, or really the American and his Indonesian wife, they're getting death threats now, and there has been kidnapping attempts on their kid. Right now, the thing with this is this a murder situation? Right, you have an American cryptocurrency tycoon who's worth a lot of money, engaged in, you know, a swingers party with his wife, who's, you know, in her early 30s, with a 19-year-old Dutch model. And I mean, you know, then there's lots of drinking, there's lots of drugs, and the girl ends up falling off the balcony. It's not entirely an unheard of story. But at the same time, is it the one that happened? This is what we don't know. Could, and of course I'm speculating here, but could, when, you know, they come back from taking the daughter to school, the three of them engaged in sex once more, because they did find male DNA on her around that point in time, but that could have come from any point during the evening, I guess. And then she said she wanted to go, and they opted to tell her no, she's still stuck with them all day, sort of thing. And then they threw her off the balcony when she didn't work with them, and or didn't, you know, follow along, didn't comply. I don't know. I don't know. I find it interesting. This is one of those whodunit stories that's going to, I think, be around for a while. But the key thing I think to look for here, the key thing would be to look to see whether or not the family skips town, right? And I know they're getting death threats and they'll use it as an excuse, and that's a good excuse. But if they're getting death threats and they're getting kidnapping attempts on their kid over this issue, it might be best for them to get out of there. But I really want to see the police come in and do like a full detailed investigation to determine what happened. But the likely, you know, this could easily be an Occam's razor situation, where what you have is a 19-year-old model from the Netherlands, living in Kuala Lumpur, and getting into a three-way with a swinging couple, and then just got really drunk, stumbled outside, and fell off the balcony. Or crawled up on the air conditioner and then fell off the balcony. See, that's the thing too, is why would she crawl on the air conditioner? That part does seem kind of weird to me, right? Why would she, drunk and maybe still a little high, get up, go outside, go, I want to see what's up here, and then tumble and fall? It does seem a little bit suspicious, but the only thing we can do now is just wait for more information and see whether or not we actually get conclusion to this whodunit. What you just saw was a shorter clip from a longer show. The Rustled Podcast airs every Sunday through Thursday night at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard on rustled.net. Please consider subscribing to the channel as well as 3 Buck Theater and potentially becoming one of our sponsors at patreon.com/mundanematt. Thank you and have a great day.